Alright, so considering the fact that you're watching this channel, you shouldn't need someone to tell you that video games are a form of art. Whether it be through literal art style, storytelling, music, or gameplay, each game has something unique to offer. But trust me when I say that no game has ever offered me something that manages to match what 100 Hidden Frogs has to offer. I'd be lying if I said that 100 Hidden Frogs wasn't not my favorite game of all time. An incredibly expansive OST, a unique art style, and don't even get me started on gameplay, all of these things are something that you would find in a great video game. As such, I have to put a spoiler warning on this video. If you have yet to play 100 Hidden Frogs, I highly encourage you to stop what you're doing right now and go play it. It's a bit on the pricey side and is a bit lengthy, but I promise you that you might not regret it. After all, this game has a 98% positive rating on Steam, a percentage that very few games even get close to. So go ahead and pause this video right now and go do that. I'll be waiting here. Okay, now let's talk about this frog game. As soon as you click the play button, the game throws you straight into the mayhem without even giving you a tutorial. Now, personally, I love when games do this. It really helps to create a sense of mystery and adventure, and it also encourages the player to make their own discoveries instead of just holding their hand the entire way. The game further pursues this mysterious setting by immediately presenting you with this strange number at the bottom of the screen. Now, later in the game, you'll realize just how significant this number is, but as of right now, the player has no clue what it means. All they can do is click on frogs and find out for themselves. Whenever you click on a frog for the first time, it turns green as a sound effect plays. This is absolutely brilliant storytelling. Now, the average simpleton would just say, oh, it's green because frogs are green, but they couldn't be more incorrect. First off, most frogs aren't even green, they're usually brown, gray, or at best olive. Secondly, this has nothing to do with the actual color of frogs. No, the brilliant mind of Anatoly Loganovsky is much more refined. According to color theory, green represents abundance, just like the abundance of all of the frogs. I mean, there's 100 of them after all. There's one here, there's one here, one here, 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 here. Point is, there's a lot of frogs. But just because there's so many of them doesn't mean that they can't all be unique. They differ in shape, size, posture, and even social status. Yep, you heard me right, there's a frog hierarchy. Some of you guys clearly don't even care about the lore of this game, and it shows. At the very top of this hierarchy lies the Frog King. He alone sits on his throne in the colossal bell tower, using his almighty wisdom to govern over his large kingdom of 99 other frogs. Without him, the entire marsh would collapse. Right below him on the hierarchical status are the large frogs. These frogs are very few and far between, and act as envoys for the king. They are able to go wherever they please around the marsh, seeking to improve foreign relations with other species. These other species include the beavers, the alligators, and the wise gnome. Unfortunately, not much is known about these other species, since we don't see too much of them. Then, we have the upper class. These frogs are fortunate enough to live a relatively luxurious life, residing in various locations on the waters of the marsh, whether it be on top of lily pads, flowers, or... Is that ham? With pineapple rings on the inside? What? Below those that are able to live on the waters is the middle class, which contrives most of the 100 frogs in the marsh. They mostly live in the suburbs, crowded quite close together on logs, fungi, or various other things. Overall, not too much to say about them. Then, on the very bottom rung of the social ladder lies the working class. The few frogs that exist in this class are forced to labor away, ensuring that the dam at the bottom of the screen is properly maintained. It's never explicitly stated how exactly these frogs ended up in this position. Perhaps they're criminals that are sent here as punishment, or maybe they're just unlucky. We may never know. Nothing in the world of 100 Hidden Frogs is certain, and that's the beauty of the game's storytelling. To create a fascinating world full of mystery is something that only this game can do. Okay, the joke's getting old now. I'm gonna have to start talking about this game seriously. 100 Hidden Frogs is a game, and it's actually kind of fun for the first 5 minutes, which is good because that's about how long it takes to beat the game. However, that doesn't mean it comes without some mild annoyances. For example, every single time that you click on a frog, you get an achievement on Steam. Every single time. I hope you're ready to hear this sound a lot. Also, quick side note, how do most of these achievements have a 100% collection rate? I didn't even know that was possible. Usually, there's a sizable chunk of players who don't even beat the first level of a game, which is honestly kinda shocking. Why would you even buy the game then? But I guess 100 Hidden Frogs is so intriguing that literally everyone that gets the game immediately starts playing it. Not only that, but 91% of them play it through all the way to the end. That's actually really impressive. Another interesting thing that this game has is a reverse difficulty curve, with a small spike at the end. The easiest section to find frogs is by far the bottom of the screen. Almost all of the ones down there stick out like a sore thumb, aside from a few sneaky ones. However, the game starts you off at the top of the screen, where everything looks like a jumbled mess, allowing for the placement of some of the most hidden frogs in the entire game. Normally, starting a game off with a high difficulty and making it get progressively easier is a pretty bad idea, but it actually works really well for 100 Hidden Frogs. Because of the nature of the game, that being a free-to-play Steam game that takes less than 10 minutes to beat, it can't have any sort of build-up or tension. It needs to give players instant gratification as soon as they open up the game, otherwise most of them will just close the window and move on to the next free game. It's kinda sad, but that's just what short-form content has to do in order to succeed, and succeed it does. The top part of the screen may be where some of the hardest to spot frogs are hidden, but it's also where most of the frogs even are in the first place. Because there's just so many of them up here, it allows the player to spot a bunch of them immediately and just go, then, once they've gotten all of that out of their system, the game starts to calm down a bit, throwing a couple of easy to find frogs in before demanding the player to find the really tricky ones. I can pretty confidently say that if this game was 10 hidden frogs instead of 100 hidden frogs, it wouldn't have nearly as high of a completion rate, since it wouldn't be able to get players hooked with that instant dopamine rush. Also, sunk cost fallacy and all that whatever. Speaking of which, once you complete the game, what happens? Well, this happens. That's it, the music just changes. It's a really simple ending, but that's because it doesn't need to be super flashy. This is 100 Hidden Frogs we're talking about. Simply saying, good job, you did it, is enough. If you want to play the game again after you beat it, for whatever reason, you can push the delete key to reset your progress and then just push escape. Also, fun fact, a sound plays when you push the delete key, but there's no delay between sound effects if you push it multiple times, meaning you can do this. Also, you can turn on night mode by pushing N, which, I mean, cool, I guess? Seems kinda useless, but it works, so I can't really criticize it that much. Speaking of criticism, can we talk about that 98% review rating on Steam? That number is ridiculously high, especially with a sample size of over 5,000. Pretty much no other game on Steam gets ratings that high. I guess that means that 100 Hidden Frogs is better than all of these games and just as good as these other ones. Do with that information what you will. Other than that, there is literally nothing else I can say about this game. I've talked about this game for longer than it takes to even beat it, so I think I've done enough. Happy April Fools, and I promise that I'll release an actual video soon, as long as you guys stop watching this one. That one kinda sucks.